right, so to wrap up my series on how Taylor Swift is the modern day Alexander Hamilton, I'm going to take this comment here as a way to kind of sum it up. And I think this is a really good point, and it calls back to the very first part of it. If you want to see the other parts, go back on my page. They're all there over the past couple of weeks. But yeah, so this is a point that I kind of missed my first time through, and I think it's really critical. And I actually went back and I watched Miss Americana again recently. And this struck me as something that Taylor really does believe. She's writing like she's running out of time, because I think in her head, she sees that completely unfair and artificial clock that Hollywood seems to place on female celebrities. When they get past about 35 years old, all of a sudden, they become irrelevant. And while I do think that Taylor is probably going to buck those trends and do whatever she wants to do with her career, someone probably would have said the same thing about Madonna maybe in like 1989 or 1990, right? And, you know, while she's still amazing, there's certainly a difference between the way Madonna was pop culture encapsulated in the late 80s versus, you know, what she is today. So I understand why Taylor is perhaps writing like she's running out of time. And that was part one of our 5-part theory here. So in part two, we talked about how narrative ownership was a big part of both of their stories, right? In Alexander's case, writing the Reynolds pamphlets, throwing himself on his own sword, but to save the treasury, right? And Taylor, of course, her choices to be so public and so direct in her writing about her own life, and choosing to own her narrative. Part three, we went into just scandal, the salaciousness, their affairs, romantic endeavors being borne out in the press, whether they liked it or not. Part four, we jumped into reputation, of course, talking about how Alexander's reputation again took a hit and then was rebuilt. In his case, by his loved ones, by his history, by people like Lin-Manuel Miranda today. Of course, Taylor rebuilding her own reputation, of course. And in part five, we wrapped it up with a talk about dueling, battling, something that, of course, we've seen Taylor do quite a bit throughout her career, and Alexander, of course, throughout his own life to his own death as a dueler and a battler. So there you go. 5 parts as to why Taylor Swift is today's Alexander Hamilton. I hope you guys enjoyed this look. If there's anything else that I missed, feel free to add it in the comments. Maybe we'll get a postscript added onto this series. Who knows? But thank you guys for coming along with me on this journey.